Comedian, musician, and veteran Thom Tran will be making his second appearance at our 70th annual PORAC Conference of Members in November as our headlining entertainment during our installation dinner. Tran, who did a 12-month tour in Iraq, turned to music and comedy as a way to express himself after the hardships he had endured during his time in the military. Hear his story on this latest episode of On the Job with PORAC.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure, and I'm always glad to do stuff for my fellow vets.
Well, yeah, talk a little bit, just briefly about your veteran status. You were in the Army for a few years. You got injured in Iraq. Is that what got you into comedy, or were you always a funny guy even in high school?
No, sense of humor was not appreciated in the Army Special Operations community. Had more than a few counseling statements from 04s and 05s about being a smartass. No, I joined the Army in 1997 after I graduated from high school. Actually, I had being the son of a Vietnam veteran and a POW, my father was. That was just joining the Army was a struggle for my family because, my dad fought in another war and they came to the United States so that my family and my brothers and sisters didn't have to. And so, like a rebellious teenager, I did exactly the opposite of what my family wanted. Well, what my mother wanted. My father was very much like, do whatever you want to do, man. That was kind of my dad's thing my whole life. Do what you want to do. Don't get caught. If you get caught, you better be prepared for whatever happens. Now that I think about it, it sounded a lot like my drill sergeants. Like when I got to AIT, I remember my drill sergeant going, don't smoke, but if you're going to, don't get caught. And I was like, that sounds really familiar. So yeah, I joined the Army in 97, peacetime Army, quote unquote, for a few years. And then things kicked off in the Middle East. I remember my unit was actually sorry, brain fart. Our area of operations was Europe when I joined that unit. And then I got back from training. They're like, hey, our AO is CENTCOM now. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, I guess then that's happening. And Iraq happened in 03. Of course, 9/11 happened in 2001. There were various deployments in between. And then, Iraq happened. I got shot while I was deployed downrange, 2003, first week in Iraq, actually. And I stayed in Iraq because I have a hard head, apparently. And I don't listen to anyone, including doctors and medics. And I came home after that deployment, obviously in a worse way. And was medically separated, 2005. And then I decided I was going to be a rock star because that's what I wanted to do. It turns out nobody cares what a nearly 30-year-old dude has to say about love in Buffalo, New York. So that didn't work out so good. Found stand-up comedy. I guess I found it, meaning I found that it was a thing that I could do to relieve the trauma and combat stress from, years of flying around the world, doing whatever it is the Army says. What are those 4 magic words, needs of the Army? That was my life for the better part of my early 20s. And then I got shot and I retired, and comedy was the thing that kind of saved my life, I guess.
Yeah, it's obviously being peace officers. We have dark humor ourselves. A lot of people don't quite understand some of the stuff that we laugh about, but I agree 100% with you. Laughing is really cathartic for you as a person. It's just a way to relieve a lot of the stresses and anxieties that come along with the profession, whether you're in the military or whether you're in law enforcement. It's just that's why I think when you were up opening for Brad, that it was just a great show that you put on, and we're like, we got to bring this guy back. It was really
thanks, man. I was just I was there to help out my buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he was awesome too.
He was.
There's no denying that. It was a really good show all the way around.
Yep.
But I think what Brian says, your humor resonates, I think, a lot with those of us in the room. That there's a lot of veterans there, but also, humor is kind of it is cathartic for us, right? It sometimes gets us in trouble. Some folks don't see the humor in what we laugh at, but it's kind of how we get through life at times. And if you're not laughing at it, you're putting it somewhere else. And so we appreciate your humor and how you help other people cope. So.
Yeah, I mean, humor is the only way we can get through those situations and times in our lives. As a combat veteran, if you can't laugh about some of the horrific things that you see 24 hours a day for a year, 15 months, 18 months. I know dudes that were downrange for, 12 months at a time. They'd come home for a couple of weeks and then they're back on a plane to the next hole. And then, if you can't laugh, then what happens to your soul? You're just looking at all the horror. And that's what war is. It's horror. Nobody wants to be there. No one wants to be fighting. No one wants to bury their buddies. No one wants to call home the loved ones. So you got to laugh at the things you laugh at. Yeah, sometimes it's a little dark. And I think the whole thing about dark humor, it's not so much that it's dark humor. It's that people will only laugh at the things that they can commiserate with or they can relate to. That's why good comedy is what it is. You can make a room full of strangers who have no idea what your life was like feel like they were there. I can make a room full of peace officers or just randos in Hollywood laugh about my deployment or life after the Army, because it's about being relatable. And I told a joke about me getting shot in the head, and I made it funny because it's the way I tell that story makes it relatable to everyone. It's not that I got shot in the head. It's my father's reaction to it. And we all have, well, most of us have, overbearing fathers or family members. So it's, I have to tell young comics and new comics, especially comics who are coming out of the military who want to do this, what is it that's funny? Is it that the fart happened in Afghanistan or that it was a fart? A fart joke's a fart joke, whether it happened at Walmart or in Iraq. Find the funny. Don't, I have comics, young veteran comics, and by young, I mean new at this game, come to me all the time. They're like, people don't understand my jokes about the Army. I'm like, well, is the joke about the Army or the joke about the thing that happened while you happen to be in the Army? Comedy as a career, our job is to make people laugh. And you can't say, oh, people don't get this joke. It's not that they don't get the joke. They don't get why the joke is funny. And they don't get the joke. They don't get the joke why the joke is funny because you don't get why the joke is funny. You know what I mean? Like, yes, whatever situation you and your buddies think is funny to you. But to make it a career, for me to take a very serious gunfight that happened while I was in Iraq funny to a group of civilians who have never picked up a weapon. It's not that that's a dark, sensitive subject. It's the situation is why is the thing funny? And what I try to make clear with my career is that we all laugh at the same thing, whether civilians or military or peace officers or civilians or somebody on the West Coast or somebody in the middle of the country. Like, we all laugh at the same thing. It's just a matter of understanding what the thing is that we're laughing about. So yeah, I told a bunch of jokes to a bunch of peace officers about being in the military. I can tell those same jokes in Hollywood and still make them funny because it's that fart happened while I was in uniform, just like if the fart happened while I was working at Best Buy, which I've never done. I'm sorry, Best Buy, for besmirching your name.
Yeah, no doubt. So after your time in the service, your injury, you recover, is that when you decided to really focus on obviously your heavy metal career didn't pan out, but your comedy piece of it, is that really what inspired you to maybe work with other comics and start doing the advocacy work for the veterans groups that you're a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I was a non-commissioned officer. I was an NCO, and my job was to take care of soldiers. I mean, it's in the NCO creed. The completion of my mission and the welfare of my soldiers is uppermost in my mind. It's like,
The NCOs are the backbone of the military. So
well, yeah, they are. And my job was as an NCO was to take care of soldiers. And when I realized that comedy was healing me a little bit, I realized that it could heal other soldiers. I'm not the only Joe that came back from that deployment or any deployment a little messed up. And when I sit and I watch my friends be funny, that's the best way to get over the crap of my day, or the crap of my 20s, or the crap of whatever it is I'm going through. That's why people go see stand-up comedy. Like, I don't get people to go out to see stand-up comedy to be pissed off about stand-up comedy. Don't go. That's not what it's there for. It's there to make you laugh and to make you feel better, and to make you forget for a moment whatever it is you're dealing with. So when I realized comedy was doing that for me, more so than any VA doctors or any pills or drugs or medications that they were giving me, or any of the booze that I was drinking. I've been sober for a while now. It's because comedy is the thing that healed me. So yeah, when I realized that, I was like, if I can do this for other Joes, then I could still be an NCO. Even if I'm not wearing the uniform anymore, I can still do my job as a non-commissioned officer.
Absolutely. So in regards to your music career now, are you trying to refocus on that and get back into the heavy metal scene? I mean, it's what's the name of your band, I guess, would be the first question.
I actually have two bands.
Ah, nice.
I have an original band. What's that?
I see a lot of guitars behind you. So.
Oh, that's only a few of my guitars. Yeah, if you could see, I mean, there's a whole stack right there that's in cases. I have what's called GAS, guitar acquisition syndrome. It's a very serious disease.
Nice.
But yeah, I've got two bands. I've got an original band called the Thom Tran Band, and it's a lot of blues rock stuff, like Skinner, Bon Jovi, Van Halen kind of stuff. It's a mishmash of everything. Like, that guitar right there is my number one. It's actually the same guitar that Eddie Van Halen is playing in that photo. Not the exact same one, but it's
That's
one of
your
his
Lucille?
guitars. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I have a Lucille on the way.
Oh, very nice.
Gibson just released a BB King Lucille, and I was like, I got to get one. And I don't have kids, so I can do what I want.
There you go.
So that's the band I play. I just when I write stuff on my own. But I started a new band called the Bridge Crew, and crew is spelled CRUE, like Motley Crue. It is a Star Trek themed heavy metal rock band.
That's awesome.
I got to listen to this.
Yeah, we wear Starfleet uniforms, and actually, I just had custom guitar picks made.
Oh.
Nice.
So the Bridge Crew.
Awesome.
We just released a couple of music videos. I'm working on another music video. I'm actually going to record the song, and then we're going to work on another music video shortly. But we just released one called Neutral Zone, which is a parody of Danger Zone from the Top Gun movie. And the lyrics are based on, this is how nerdy I am. And I'm shocked that I still have women in my life. But I wrote the song based on The Next Generation, season 3, episode 11.
Very specific. Wow.
Yeah, that episode is about a Romulan defector who takes the Enterprise into the Romulan neutral zone. And that's what the song is based on. Like, if you listen to the lyrics of the song and then watch the music or watch the TV episode, you're like, holy crap, that's it. So that's how nerdy I get.
Oh God, I wish we were interviewing William Shatner again. We could talk about your band with him.
Shatner, I met him once at a party. It was the weirdest conversation, but
It was
it's kind
very
of the reason I
cool.
own my house.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, we're looking forward to you to come down to San Diego in November. Excited to see you again, and like I said, I think you're going to just be awesome for our members. They're super excited that you're coming down, and not too far away from where you live. That's a good thing, right?
No. Yeah, I was just down there a couple of weeks ago hosting the GI Film Festival. So yeah, looking forward to getting back down there. I mean, as an Army guy, I feel about as comfortable in San Diego as anyone can.
Yeah,
But Comic-Con is down there, so
that's
just
right.
saying.
Well, Brian and I are a couple squids, so we're pretty comfortable down in San Diego. So.
Yes, and you're probably comfortable at Comic-Con.
Oh, very, very, very. So
That's such a great environment down there. So on the veterans groups that you're supporting, is this like how does this tour materialize? Is this something that you work closely with like the military branches specifically, or are you working through the USO? How does that work?
So there's a department within the Pentagon called Armed Forces Entertainment. They are what people think the USO is. The USO is not government funded. It is a private organization. They're supported by donations, 100%. But what most people think is that is a government agency. They are not. Armed Forces Entertainment is the actual office that does the things that people think the USO does. The USO does them, just not officially for the Department of Defense. And it's a whole rigmarole. So I work with Armed Forces Entertainment. I'm actually a government contractor still.
Very cool.
I've worked for the federal government since I was 18. I actually just got off the phone with the military bank that I use, and the guy ended the phone call with, "Thank you for your 23 years of membership." I went, Jesus Christ, it's been 23 years. Like I remember signing up when I was a private. I was like 18 years old. But yeah, so I work with Armed Forces Entertainment to tour around the world. My goal was to be able to take care of troops, like I said, and I can't do it by jumping out of planes anymore. So I do it with a microphone. And when I created a group called the GIs of Comedy, we're all comedians, we're all veterans of the military. Some actually have a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, a reserve lieutenant colonel who's still who's a stand-up comedian. We travel around the world performing. It's been 26 or 27 countries at this point in 43 states. And we performed bases and military personnel all over the world, on top of just, the random Memorial Day or Veterans Day show or something like that. So yeah, we've been doing that since 2012, I think was our official, 2011, first time we went on tour. I created the group in 2010 because I wanted to do something. I wanted, my mission needed to continue. I'm one of those Joes that was like, I'm real good at taking orders. You give me a mission, I will complete it with as much efficiency and lethality as you needed me to. But then I became a stand-up comedian. Like, I don't have a mission anymore. So my mission became entertaining troops stationed wherever they are. I used to say that, if there are two airmen in a shack in Greenland, I want to perform for them. And the Pentagon took me seriously. And the very first show I did was in Thule, Greenland, the North Pole, at the coldest time of year. So I need to be a little more careful with what I say to the Department of Defense, because they will take me literally.
Yes.
But we've been doing that since 2011. 2019 we did like a big 30 base tour, and then the world ended. We've just kind of been trying to get our footing underneath us ever since. Everybody's kind of had to do their own thing to keep ends meeting. And so we're still doing that. I work with a bunch of military charities that, when I do, we sell merchandise during our tour, and part of the proceeds go to those charities. A couple specifically that I've been working with worked with one of them for 10 years now. Donated about $40,000 to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation.
Awesome work. Well, again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come on and talk to us a little bit. And also want to thank you for your service to our country. It's extremely important that we thank our veterans, and especially those who went downrange, and appreciate all of the sacrifices that they've made for us here back in the United States. So, again, Thom, thank you so much for being on here, and I look forward to seeing you in November.
PORAC is California's largest law enforcement organization and the largest statewide association in the nation, representing over 77,000 public safety members since 1953. Our monthly podcasts, as well as past episodes, are available on PORAC.org, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, PORAC's YouTube channel, or where popular podcasts are downloaded. Be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms and tag us with your suggestions for future show topics. To learn more about our organization, visit us at PORAC.org. We are PORAC.